So welcome to Make It Orky, my first video, and today I thought I'd go over the workstation and the basic sort of stuff that I do and prepare ready for a good painting session. So first off the bat are brushes. So I tend to use army painter brushes primarily. So I've got the base coat army painter brush, the insane detail brush, which I don't use too much to be honest, and the Wargamer detail brush, which is the one I use all the time basically. So, and as you can see, they've got a nice sort of triangle, sort of, they're easy to hold basically. It's like holding a pen. It's really good. The fourth brush I've got from Army Painter is the Army Painter dry brush, which is invaluable for basing, for all sorts of things basically, applying sort of highlights and stuff to things. Really good. I've got a couple of other brushes, and I've gone through tons of these, which are the Citadel brushes from Games Workshop, which tend to, in my opinion, I don't know, not made extremely well. They're just, I don't know, they feel okay when you hold them, but nowhere near as nice as an Army Painter brush. I went through a phase of not really looking after my brushes that well, so I don't know. These things, I think, aren't very good quality. The bristles go out of shape really quickly, and they tend to not last for huge amounts of time. I tend to go through these at a rate of like one every 2 or 3 weeks, which is pretty insane. That's probably just me though, I'm just nuts. So stay away from the Citadel brushes, and if you can, get online and order Army Painter brushes. Some really good places to get them from. Warlord Gaming, I think, in the UK do them. Lots of places do them. Get online, have a look. So the next thing I've got then is my paints, and I use a mixture of paints. Again, I use Citadel paints primarily, especially the foundation paints, because we're going to be painting orcs, Thraka green, and depending on your colour scheme, I tend to use a lot of Mordian blue because I play Death Skulls primarily. So for a lot of my videos, I'm going to be painting Death Skulls. So Mordian blue is essential for that, but obviously substitute that with any colour that you're painting your orcs. So we've got, the next good foundation paint I find is Astronomicon Grey, which I tend to use for metal areas, for base coating metal areas. Narlock Green, that's pretty good as well, the Narlock Green. Sorry, when I said Thraka Green earlier, that's the wash, I think. So yeah, what you want is Narlock Green for orcs. So you want Narlock, you want Astronomicon Grey for your metal parts, a colour for all your clothes, like in my case Mordian blue, and then you want, what else do you want? Any other colour that you want to go in there. And I find, generally actually for the white parts, for things if you're doing white on clothing, again Astronomicon Grey is pretty good, and then you sort of build up layers of lighter colours over the top of that. As well as the foundation paints, so just going to sort of, when you applying a bit more detail, when you're layering up and applying highlights, I bought the Army Painter painting set, the starter paint set, and these things are absolutely brilliant, I think. Pretty much on par with the Citadel range of paints. They tend to apply better, I find, on the model. They seem to be a bit more kind of, I don't know, you shake them up, tend to come out of just the right consistency for painting. You don't need to mix it with much water. They tend to just go straight on the brush, and straight away they paint well. The great thing about these as well is you can just dab a bit on, they've got like a nozzle here, and so you can get just the right amount. You don't waste much paint. I mean, obviously when I get to the bottom of these paints, it's going to be harder to get that paint out, so I'm probably going to cut into them and get that paint out that way, but we'll see. So for painting orcs, Goblin Green is essential, as well as this one here, Scorpion Green. It's a really luminous green, really great for applying highlights. During the next few videos, I'm going to be showing you how to build up the sort of orc skin to make it look really good in a basic way. I mean, none of the painting I do is, I would say, pro painting. It's all just basic painting to good effect, which is what I want. Hopefully we can. It's all we really need to achieve really for the tabletop. But I might be able to show you some tricks along the way. So there's that there. Scorpion Green, again, great for orcs, and again your Goblin Green is essential. Alongside that, I've got a series of Citadel washes which are great. I think these are absolutely brilliant, the washes. I invested though in a pot of Army Painter Quick Shade, strong tone. So I've been using that primarily, but the washes do still come in handy. And again, we can apply washes before we apply the quick shade to just really, get some real depth to the models if we want to, as well as for basing. It's really the washes are great for getting into the bases and making some really cool effects. I've got a series of washes, the usual stuff. I've got Val Red. Asium Blue is brilliant. Again, as I've told you, I'm making Death Skull, so they use a lot of blue. Asium Blue wash is great. What else? We've got Devlin Mud is awesome for a sort of lighter wash, lighter dark wash, and Baydad Black. Baydad Black, whatever, I don't know how you pronounce that, but brilliant for really getting in there and defining the miniatures. And I tend to paint in quite I would say, a comic book sort of colourful style, and Baydad Black really helps to define those areas and get really into the crevices and get them dark, and then the stark contrast with the bright colours and the darker shading just really helps. But yeah, I'm invested in some quick shade. I'm just testing it out. At the moment, I'm having sort of mixed results. You really need to, if you're getting the quick shade, as I'll explain later, you really need to get some anti-shine as well. Okay, so anti-shine, really, I'll show you an example. So let's say I've just painted a miniature, and handily, I've got an orc knob just here. And the orc knob, I painted up, layered up some colours. You can see he's quite bright, and my friend keeps telling me to make him dirtier and muddier. But anyway, he is literally just been dipped a couple of days ago, and he's extremely shiny. I'm not sure whether you can see it on the camera, but he's very shiny. And the issue with that is it just looks it's just a really high gloss finish. So what what Army Painter have released is anti-shine, which effectively you spray it onto the model very thinly, just give it a quick spray on both sides, and it gives it a matte effect look, a matte finish on the model, which is probably preferable. Unfortunately, I don't have an example of a model with a matte finish yet. Here's my Ork War Boss, fully based, and I used Baydad Black on the flock there, which is sort of some rocky sort of flock, just to get in amongst the crevices and make it look a bit better. But yeah, Warboss, really pleased with him. I'm not sure what the lighting's like on him. Let's just have a look at that. Let's just turn the lighting down a bit. I don't know if that improves things somewhat. But you can see this is using quick shade, strong tone. I don't know, it works okay. I think it works better on miniatures that are flesh coloured, like normal human flesh coloured. With orcs, it tends to leave them looking a bit dirty, but I don't know. It's pretty cool, I guess. So over the next few, actually before I go on to my next videos, just a couple of tips for you. Preparing your workstation, I've got a big work mat here, but I tend not to, get this painted if I can. Keep it clean, keep it, whatever. This just defines my area to work in. Really cool tip for you: when we're painting, and we want to keep our paints wet, hopefully, because otherwise, I don't know about you guys, but I used to paint on plastic lids and stuff. It would get really dry. They would dry up really quickly after applying it to the thing. So, as a mixing sort of thing, a sort of mixing tray or paint palette, whatever, just get a lid, an old plastic lid, to like a takeaway box, or go to Wilkinson's or something like that and pick up some takeaway boxes. Get these lids, dead cheap. Bit of kitchen towel on top, one piece of kitchen roll on top. Get it nice and wet, as you can see. I don't know whether you can see it on the camera. It is wet. And then over the top of that, just cut a square of greaseproof paper, stick that on the top, and that will get nice and just slightly damp. The water will slowly seep through, and what we can do is it provides a really nice surface to put some paint onto, and it keeps the paint wet, so we don't have to keep wasting paint, getting new paint out of the pot. Just get a nice amount onto here. We can then mix on this as well if we want to, with mix it with other colours or white to get when we're highlighting. It's a really useful thing. Keep all your paint on here. Another thing I would have with you is some kitchen towel, just generally some kitchen towel. Oftentimes the Citadel paint will leak out of the back. I don't know whether you've experienced this, but you really need to let it come off the lip. If I just open this up, this grey paint here, once you've shaken it, you get loads in the lip bit here, and it tends to just slowly drip down the back without you really noticing, and loads of times I've picked it up and it's just been covered in paint at the bottom. But these are pretty good paint pots actually. They clip back and really useful. But yeah, some kitchen towel, and I tend to just put my paints on a piece of kitchen towel just in case they leak out. Also have a bit of kitchen towel handy for wiping your brushes after washing them. Brings me nicely onto a plastic cup just full of water, or jar, or whatever. Just have some fresh water on the go when you're painting. For undercoating, just really quickly, I use a mix. I haven't experimented with Army Painter yet. I have actually with the Blood Angels, and it worked really well. I used the red, one of the red colours from Army Painter. I've now just got this Army Green paint after seeing a tutorial on painting knobs online, the quick and dirty one actually on Mini Wargamer. I think he used Army Green for that, so I bought a can. I'm going to test it out on a load of boys at some point, and I'll be sure to make a video about that and report back on how well it worked. Other than that, I tend to use Chaos Black. Before I found Army Painter, so just a pot of Chaos Black, Citadel Chaos Black. I picked this up for about £8. I think it's about £8 still. And once again, I've got the anti-shine. I do have some of the Citadel Purity varnish again, and that gives a pretty good effect. It's kind of a glossy effect, but really subtle, and that's pretty good as well. So, first video, this is Make It Orky. Over the next few weeks, or over the next few videos, I'm going to be painting lots of boys and knobs, because this is the staple of any good orc army. So we're going to be going through tips and tricks on how to paint lots of boys. That's my phone going off there. And we're going to be painting lots of knobs. We're going to be using quick shade. We're going to be painting them in a Death Skulls mode. So there's going to be lots of blue and green going off, and lots of brown for leather sort of things. But I will be doing one-offs, so I'm going to be doing some Evil Suns, some Bad Moon guys, whatever. So there's going to be some yellow, some goths maybe in there. And we're going to be doing lots of Death Dreads. As a Death Skulls army, I have tons of Killer Cans, tons of Death Dreads, so we're going to be painting those up as well. This is my first video. Leave comments, subscribe. Early days yet, but bear with me. And we'll. My overall objective is to just paint. As I said before, I'm not a pro painter, but I paint to a level that everybody can achieve, and it gives a great looking feel on the board when you're painting. So, oh yeah, and I'm also going to be doing some Orky terrain, so watch out for that as well. Well, see you next time. Cheers, guys.